You're listening to the Spend 10K a Day podcast, brought to you by the performance marketing experts at MuteSix. This is your source for cutting-edge insight into the world of online advertising from the team with more Facebook case studies than any other agency on the planet. Here is your host, Steve Weiss.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spend 10K a Day podcast. Today's topic is a little bit differently. We're going to take this to a different place. Usually our podcasts are about very tactical Facebook advertising, Google advertising, e-commerce growth. Today we're going to be talking a little more about the entrepreneurship, about how do you build a successful, long-lasting company? How do you do, what have I personally learned from it? I kind of just wanted to take this opportunity to kind of share, my insights of what have been some of the keys to my success as an entrepreneur. Number one, the first thing that comes to mind when I was doing this podcast is this act of consistency. I think that a business is not based around one idea or one marketing tactic or one marketing strategy. MuteSix is a basis of consistency. I think day in and day out, I think that business requires consistent work ethic. And I think not a lot of entrepreneurs really understand the amount of consistency that goes into being successful day in and day out. So number one, if you're early on in a business, you're starting a business, you just really want to understand what goes into being successful as a marketer, it's just consistency, day in and day out. And there's ways to be consistent. One of my things that I do every day is I meditate. I know everyone talks about meditation. The reason I love meditation, and I'm going to say that's number two, consistency number two for me is meditation. The reason I love meditating is because I can meditate anywhere. I could be in a room, I could be on a bus, I could be on a train. Meditation is probably my one area to really control my mind and really refocus it around reaching that goal and being a consistent person. My little trick for meditation is I'll put the timer on my phone for 5 minutes. I'll stare at an object for literally 5 minutes, and I'll take deep breaths, and I'll count the deep breaths until the 5 minutes is up. This has helped me as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, and overall in my life, just really be able to focus on what is going to drive the most value for that day. So two main things. Number one is obviously consistency. Number two, meditation. And number three, empathy. I think I talk a lot about this with my team, is being empathetic for other people's needs and wants. I always think that we're so focused on ourselves and always looking deep down inside. But I think empathy, as both a marketer and an entrepreneur, is one of the best traits that you could ever have. Because remember, you're only as successful as the sum of all your parts, not just you. And for you to become a great entrepreneur, you have to build around you. So empathy is the number three on my list. I'm gonna talk about four. I'm gonna talk about five today. So number one, consistency. Two, meditation. Three, empathy. And number four, is this leadership by example. I think setting an example day in and day out and treating everyone fairly. And I know leadership, this word leader, is really hard. It can mean a lot of different things, but I think that people, as a leader, people have to buy into your vision of where you're going and what you're doing. And I think I look at so many great, marketers that have never become great entrepreneurs. And there's a big difference between being great at a skill and actually being great at bringing people together and being a great entrepreneur. Over the years, I've seen so many marketers who have made, obviously a lot of money and became very successful, but they haven't been able to become great entrepreneurs. They've never been able to actually bring people together and harness talent and harness people and really put the time and effort into growing people. And I think that's very, very important. Is number four is leadership, is getting people around you, being, not putting yourself first, putting other people first for once, and really trying to understand their feelings. So quick recap. The reason why I quick recap each time is because I really want everyone to get a lot of value out of this episode. It's a very important episode for me. Number one, consistency. Number two, meditation. Number three, what was it again? empathy. There you go. Empathy. Number 4, leadership. Last but not least, health, which is the most important. I think so many people prioritize their business and everything around them before their health. And I can't tell you how important it is to just go out for a run, go out for a hike, get in front of the sun. If you live in a place where there is no sun, just get out of the current environment. I feel like sometimes you're so focused, you're in an office, you're focused on one task, and the reason why you can't bust through is because you're so in a specific surrounding and your mind thinks a certain way. What I love to do is when I talk about health, I like to really take my mind out of where it's currently at and kind of change my pattern. Health is all for me is not only working out but also meditating, but it's also continuously changing the patterns in my life. Patterns are so important. We live by patterns. If we get in a bad pattern, then obviously we're not going to grow, or we're not going to be as efficient with our work on a day in and day out basis. So I talk a lot to my team about changing the pattern on a daily basis, continuously being in control and changing that pattern. So as an example, I was working, I think on Tuesday of this week, I was working I probably worked 14 hours in the office, and I know I needed to stay creative, so I literally walked out of the office and went to a coffee shop. And, it might not sound like a big deal, but just leaving the office created so much creativity. And this could be a lot of things for people who work from home. Just taking a step out and not working from home for a day changes your pattern. Being in front of the sun, just walking around, changes your pattern. And last but not least, number 6, this is like a bonus round, I guess, is being aware of how much you use mobile phones and computers. Just the awareness of your consumption. I think there's a correlation between happiness and consumption. The less you consume on a daily basis, the more happy you are. I've been really trying over the last, I'd say 2 months, is to really turn the phone off for one day and just disconnect. I know sometimes it's really hard because you feel like you're missing out on so many different things going on, whether it's Instagram and Facebook, but these are the tricks and the tactics that I've learned that have made me a great marketer. It's the way I keep my mind fresh, the way I stop headaches from forming, the way I really keep myself at my A game 24/7 and been able to build a successful agency is these 5 or 6 ways. So I'm going to go back. This is quick recap. I hope you get a lot out of this podcast. Just take away one thing, and it makes my day because I really want to share this with everyone. And that's pretty much it. So number one, empathy. Number 2, meditation. Number 3, consistency. Number 4, obviously leadership. Number 5, health and change your patterns. And number 6, consumption. So I pride everyone to really take a look at their current life and really examine it. Whoever listens to this podcast, I really use some of the stuff that's worked for me and try and apply it to yourselves, because I think you'll see a lot of great value out of it. Anyway, another great episode of Spend 10K a Day podcast. Next podcast we have coming is going to be back to the nitty gritty Facebook ad world. We have end of Q2 coming up, Q3. So we're going to talk about how do you sell e-commerce products in the summer, a time when most people are away from their computer, they're away from their phone. And, we have some tactics, and we have some really, really amazing insights from our team over the years on how we do that. All right, cool. Have a great day.